Hey guys, welcome back. And you know what? I am making this video because I'm curious about it. Here is my C6 Hyperstar, and we're going to be shooting through the Askar Color Magic filters at f2. Now, I'm just kind of wondering what it's going to look like because these filters are not rated at f2, but they're at a wide enough bandpass where they just might work. I've had some success with 7nm filters, but even at 7 nanometers, I'm nerfing the system. I usually shoot through beta f2 filters, as you see here, because what happens with Hyperstar, because it's finicky, and this is what I mean about finicky, because of the central obstruction, because of the angle light has to pass through the tube, and the focal ratio, what happens is regular filters that work really well with your F6, F7 systems, so on and so forth, start to shift off band. They start to shift into the ultraviolet. So when that happens, you start to capture less signal or no signal at all. Here's an example of me shooting the Elephant Trunk Nebula in 03 at f4, and here is that same filter, this Antlia 3nm filter, shot at f2 through Hyperstar. Now, same camera, same filter, same exposure time, and I'm getting less signal even though this is shooting at f2 versus f4. So if you don't have the right filter in front of Hyperstar, you're just nerfing the system. You might as well just shoot at a slower system. So Hyperstar requires special filters or a filter that has a wide enough bandpass to compensate for that blue shift, as we call it. Now, we're going to be using it also with OSC. I'll be using it with the 071 MC Pro, which is actually going to be a lot bigger than what I usually put in front of this. I usually put a 294 mm. So the light has to come in a lot steeper just because of the little bit more real estate I have on this camera. I mean, this 6-inch aperture probably really is around 4 inches, to tell you the truth. Maybe less, because of all the stuff that I have to put in front of this thing. And also, I'm not going to be getting the signal I usually get in monochrome. So since this is a color camera sensor, I'm only getting a small amount of light to the pixels that activate with HA, S2, and O3. It gets separated out. The nice thing about the Askar Color Magic filters is I can capture HA and O3 all at one time, and I can capture S2 and O3 at one time and activate most of the pixels on the sensor, but it's still not going to be as sensitive as using a monochrome camera. So that's going to be really interesting. So the target that I thought I would shoot, and for good reason, is going to be SH2117. And let's take a look at that here. And it is the North American and Pelican Nebula. Now wait, I know what you're saying. That's a pretty bright target. That is not actually our target. Our target is really going to be the dark nebula that's in between the Pelican and also NGC 7000. Okay, with enough exposure time, and I got a few examples of this. This person here, let's shout this guy out, Scott Crosby, really good photo. This guy spent 20 hours on this in monochrome. And here's what we're after. See all this stringy stuff here. And the dark nebula is really well defined. This is what we're trying to get. And I'm going to be a little overzealous because I'm shooting at f2. I'm going to try and expose this outer dark nebula here. And you'll notice the more exposure time you get, on the North America Nebula and Pelican Nebula, they start to look less North American-y and less Pelican-y, actually, because there's a lot of dark nebula in the area. With enough photons collected, you'll start seeing all this stringy stuff hanging in, and it's really awesome. And I've always wanted to get a photo like that. I just never had the time to do that. And since I'm running Hyperstar tonight, and we're going to do it for 2 hours, we're going to see if we can beat this photo right here. And Scott actually sunk in 21 hours of integration into this photo. Okay, so let's take a look at another example. And this one is Andrew Klinger. Shout out to you. I really like your photo, by the way. Andrew shot this for 5 hours, so it is possible to get all the stringy stuff here in 5 hours. But I only have 2 hours tonight. And Andrew did really well. But yeah, as you can see, shot this a few years ago, and total integration was 5 hours and 10 minutes. So we're going to try and best that in 2 hours. So 1 hour on the Askar D1, 1 hour on the Askar D2, and we're just going to see what we get. All right, guys, with that being said, we're going to wait for nightfall, and I'll see you out there. D1 D2 Hyperstar night. And you see I got it all set up here. Ooh. First time shooting at APS-C, f2, and through these filters, seeing if they can handle it. They should be able to handle it because the bandpass is so wide. And I'm definitely near a busy street right now. Gorilla Astro. Alright guys, I got a few subs back already, and I thought the vignetting on an APS-C sensor would have been terrible, but it really isn't. Check this out. I mean, vignetting is non-existent almost, and it could be because the vignetting should be near the dark nebula, which I'm getting, but I would have thought it would have been a lot stronger than this. But this is a lot of data I'm getting through the D1 filter right now, and I'm shooting 2-minute subs at unity gain, and I really like the detail on the dark nebula here. Check it out. I'm getting tons of structure there on the 071, and the stars are looking great. The only thing is here is on the bright stars, we're finally getting halos. Now, these filters are not meant to shoot down to f2, so gotta have a little bit of forgiveness for that, but the D1 filter works on Hyperstar very well. And I think, yep, here's another star halo. So that's what that looks like. It's nothing that can't be corrected in post, but the important thing is the D1 filter works on Hyperstar. And this is also the first time I'm shooting APS-C on my Hyperstar C6. Oh my gosh. Alright, really interesting thing happening right now. About 30 minutes in, and as Cygnus rises in the sky, my star halos are actually looking a lot better. Check this out. So they're looking more like what we're used to. They have improved quite a bit. So I'm not really sure what that's about, but I just kind of wanted to report that from the beginning of the night. Could be that my scope was not cooled down enough. I don't know, but these filters are performing better as the night goes on. Jeez. Alright, got some D1 flats right now. Soon we'll be putting in our D2 filter. Alright, I got my S2 data back. S2 and 03 that is. And check it out. Pretty faint, but we're still getting some signal. It's hard to tell just because S2 is really faint. And we won't know until the actual stack, but definitely getting 03 in here. But yeah, S2, I can kind of see a little bit of that deep red. But like I said, it probably isn't going to be evident until we start stacking. So I'm just going to keep shooting some frames, keep pounding it out for another hour and pack it up. But this has been a great night so far. Hyperstar. And, you know, it's been, God, how long has it been since I've shot with Hyperstar? Last year for sure. Was it the end of summer? Because I ended up getting the Askar 103, right? And I did that long video series on it. Oh my gosh. It has been that long. Way too long. Alright guys, check it out. Got clouds forming over here. But, lucky for me, Cygnus is over here. All these clouds have to do is just stay over there. Only got half an hour left, so let's hope. Well, that's it for tonight, guys, and not a moment too soon. Check that out. Clouds are moving in. I got 2 hours of data. Can't wait to see what this looks like, so I guess this is good night. I hope you guys are just excited as I am to see the results, because I got a lot of data, and I can't wait to share that with you. But before we get into it, I just want to let you guys know that if you are interested in Hyperstar, maybe you're thinking about it, I do have a video about F2 imaging through a Hyperstar and what it's like and what you need. I'll make sure to put that video down in the description. And also, since this is the first time I've shot OSC, APS-C through the Hyperstar, we're going to take a look at how much signal, of course, that I collected. And also what the vignetting's like, because Starizona says that you can shoot through an APS-C sensor. So I'm fully expecting a lot of vignetting, right? And also what the star shapes are going to be like. The thing about Hyperstar is you don't buy Hyperstar thinking that you're going to get amazing stars or perfect stars with Hyperstar. It's just never going to happen. And that's just a limitation of the design because of the reducer itself and also the SCT. But nowadays we have things like Blur Exterminator that fix small things like that. But just know that if you are thinking about buying a Hyperstar, that your stars will look a little bit weird, especially in the corners there. So let's take a look at our data now. So here is an example of the HA, and we're going to start there. And we got a ton of data. We got the Cygnus wall here, and then here we did get a lot of the stringy stuff. Remember, this is an hour of HA. And we're not even using all of the sensor. We got Deadpool's face here, is what I call it. I don't know, it just looks like it. We have the Pelican, but look at all this other stringy stuff that we exposed out here, out on the edges. And that was what I was hoping to get, right? So this is a lot of signal for HA. All right, so here's our 03 master frame. Remember, in OSC, when I separate these channels out, I integrate 4 03 frames into one. So here is my 03 that I got through Hyperstar. So far, so good, right? We got a lot of 03. And look at the differences between the two. So there's definitely some contrast that we're getting, and also different parts of the nebula are accentuated depending on what photo we're looking at. The stars are not bad, actually. As we head out into the corners, just as I thought, we're looking a little weird. But again, like I said, Blur Exterminator is just going to clean this up perfectly. And besides, I'm not going to be looking at this photo up close like that. So it's going to be enjoyed from the view that it's meant to be. So I'm not much of a pixel peeper. I don't really care too much about star shapes because I would just handle all that in post-processing. So it's not really a big deal to me. Also, we got some halos here in the O3. This is what the halos look like. And that was me stacking all the photos that didn't have the haloing that we got at the beginning of the night. So I was very careful to not stack those. But we did halo out a little bit, but like I said, these filters are not meant to shoot down to f2. So I was fully expecting some halos here. And for S2, that's not bad. We got a lot of S2. I mean, we got all this clumpy stuff, and we did get some of the nebula and a lot of this outer red. This is actually deep red in the area. So not bad. Let's take a look at the stars on S2 too. Yeah, still a little weird, but nothing that, again, we can't handle in post. So here's our SHO. So we're definitely going to make a Hubble palette photo. And here's what our flats look like. Maybe if I can find it here. There it is. And this is what surprised me the most. So with these Askar D1 and D2 filters, the vignetting isn't terrible. It's not really bad at all. This is pretty standard for Hyperstar. We'll get kind of a bright center in there, but you'll see the light fall off, especially out here in the corners. So there's no real dark corners that we have here. And this is going to calibrate out nicely. So not bad. And I'm really, really surprised it wasn't like super dark here in the corners. I was just really impressed with, you know, the way this reducer handled things. Okay. That being said, let's close this out and let's take a look at our full SHO. All right, so here is what we got. Oh man, we got a ton of signal when we all put it all together. So here we got the dark nebula, and we got a lot of the outer dark nebula in the region here, and it's nice and stringy. Check it out right here. The Cygnus wall you'll see here is just kind of a part of the scene, right? It doesn't take it over. And the pelican is very not pelican-y. I don't know how else to explain that, but it's really cool. And there's some features that, you know, I didn't realize that was there, which is this little mountain of whatever that is. What is that? It looks pretty cool. It's got some little spires to it here. And our 071's doing a really good job of, you know, exposing all this stuff too in really good resolution. But yeah, I just love all of this stringy stuff. And it just keeps going on and on. Like here in this corner here, we got some stringy stuff here. We got a ton of stuff in this area here. Look at this upper left-hand corner. Oh my gosh. And I did apply Blur Exterminator to this photo. So let's, again, take a look at our stars out on the edges. Yep, they look great, right? They're nice and reduced. They're nice and round. Nothing to worry about. And I also applied 20% of Noise Exterminator. However, we do probably still need to get a little bit more signal just because it is a little bit noisy here. But for an hour in each filter, this is not bad, especially the level of detail that we're getting here. And one other thing I'm going to show you here is the star halo. So here's what the halo looks like stacked. That's not bad either. I could have minimized this quite a bit so it looked normal, but I wanted you guys to take a look at how the star halo is at f2 on these filters. So not bad. Well guys, I guess the only thing we need to do now is enjoy my photo of SH2-117. So what do I think? Hyperstar paired with the Askar Color Magic filter set? I'm gonna say yes. I'm gonna keep using these with my Hyperstar, and maybe I'll try and blast some fainter targets out of the sky too, so we can see how this actually works on fainter targets. So stay tuned for that one, and I guess I'll see you in the next. Peace.